Hey friend, how are you today? I need to talk. So this is completely different from any video that I've done, but I think it's imperative to have this conversation because I know a lot of us are stuck at home, whether that is because you don't have a job, you lost your job, you're waiting on your job to start back up. I think it's important right now that we have very hard discussions. This is a hard time. It's a hard time, and we need to talk. So a lot of you don't know this, but primarily my background has been mostly in education and in the medical field. I was a teacher for a long time, and in conjunction with that, I've also been a healthcare administrator. So in my highlights of being a healthcare administrator, I have worked in the OR, I've worked with anesthesiology residents, I've been supervisors of clinics. I have really been in the forefront of healthcare administration. So with an extensive background like that, it's no surprise that I, a few months ago, was looking for a job in healthcare. So the job I'm about to tell you about, I was a manager at a caregiver facility. So what I would do is I would dispatch caregivers to take care of the elderly and the disabled, people that, you know, needed help, assistance in their homes. I was a person that was in charge of hiring those people and dispatching them to people's homes, essentially. Upon being hired, I let the person that was above me know that I had been a healthcare manager prior. I actually worked in the OR and working with anesthesiology students, and it was a very prominent position to be that young and to be over doctors and to be, it was a very, very hard and very taxing position. So when I went into the interview for this position, I did obviously have that on my resume, and I let her know this is what I've done before. Now, you would think with an extensive resume like that, somebody would be like, oh wow, you know, that's really credible. I'm excited to have you here. And in the interview, it did seem like that, but there was something that was off from the very beginning, and I couldn't pinpoint exactly what that is. So I'm hired, I'm the manager, and I'm there for literally, I would think, and I wasn't there long, I think I was there maybe a month. Maybe that. I got 2 checks out of the deal, so maybe 3.5 weeks. There's a reason why. But let me get to it. Everything's starting off well. Everything's starting off good. I'm learning the system so quickly. I'm talking to people on the second day on the phone, trying to get things orchestrated, trying to get things right. I'm learning the paperwork, I'm learning the extensions, I'm learning, I'm eager, and I'm excited about my new job. My second day of employment, I was accused of stealing. Now, if you know anything about me, one thing about me is that A, I can't lie, and B, I'm very, very, very forthcoming about what I'm doing, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to say that I'm wrong. I'm prominent in saying that I am wrong about something because I don't have the balls to say, oh, I'm better than this, I'm better than that. No, I didn't do, no. If I did something wrong, I'm going to fess up to it. I did something wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And the attitude that my manager had towards me was so unbelievably vile. It was so accusatory, and I know in my heart that I did not do anything wrong. So the energy on the second day has shifted, right? So she's accusing me. I really don't want to talk to her. I'm fighting everything just not to walk out of here because I know who I am. I know at my core who I am. So she's looking at me and she's like, oh, you know, I just want to make sure everything's okay. I say everything's not okay. You're accusing me of something that I did not do. Oh, well, I didn't accuse. I said I could see it in your face. You accused me. And then she's like, well, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Bygones be bygones. I'll let it go at this point. This is my second day. This is my second fucking day. So one thing that struck me odd is, like I told you, I was someone that was dispatching caregivers and CNAs to people's homes. So I don't know about you, but let's think about your grandparents for a minute. If someone is going into your grandparents' home, don't you want to kind of make sure that this person has had an extensive check to make sure that this person is okay to be in your grandparents' home, to make sure that they're decent human being? All these people cared about was if the drug test was taken and if the background was relatively clean. That's it. That's it. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, okay, there should be a tier process to interviewing people to be caregivers, but then they have it to where you can literally just walk in and get an interview. So in your mind, if you're thinking this place always has consecutive walk-in interviews, oh, I'm going to get the job. there's no sense of, not necessarily fear, but just the thing of wanting to be professional, wanting to be presentable to get a job. I mean, just like kind of like with restaurants, how you can go in from like 2 to 4 and that's when they interview you and usually you get the job if you're relatively okay and you like people. It's kind of like that. I don't think that it should be so easy for somebody to just go in someone's home. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. So one thing I think they didn't like was the fact that I was very picky. I'm not going to move so quickly to be putting other people in people's homes just for the sake of Medicaid waivers. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make sure that the elderly trust me because they know me by name. My clients, they knew me by name. They call and be like, hey, Margaret, I really want to thank you for such and such coming to my home. They were great today. I got a lot of those calls. And you know why? Because I took the time to make sure that person was okay to be in their home. Girl. Woo. So, next thing, COVID-19, all right? The pandemic that is literally ruining everybody's life right now. So imagine dealing with the pandemic and then still having to dispatch people to people's homes. People with obviously compromised immune systems, people that are elderly, people that need to kind of stay away from everybody else, all right? So the big word that we've all learned this year is what? PPE, personal protective equipment. Now, this company was non-medical, and what non-medical means is that the caregivers were not able to dispense medication. They could give medication reminders, but they were not able to do anything medical for the client. So since we were a non-medical company, that means that the company did not supply gloves, masks. They didn't do this prior to the pandemic. Well, pandemic happened, okay? Pandemic happened, and now I believe in my mind as a manager things should change. The elderly deserve somebody going in there with a mask on, using gloves, maintaining social distancing. The elderly and the people that are immunocompromised that are under our umbrella deserve the best cautious care. Now, my third day, all right, so day one went well, accused of stealing, and then the next day. So my third day, I was like, okay, well, since this is revving up to being what it is, maybe we should consider at least trying to find a way to get some PPE. I know, look, hospitals were backed up, first responders couldn't get, I completely understand that, I do, but I know there are wait lists out there too, okay? You can at least put the effort in to make sure that these people have adequate care. I'm just saying. I bring this up to my manager and she's like, well, we've never supplied gloves. And she was so freaking careless and she just looked at me, she's like, we've never supplied gloves. I'm like, okay, well, since things are changing everywhere, maybe we could start to supply something so that way at least our elderly feel more comfortable with someone in the home. I cannot tell you the amount of phone calls I received from irate clients talking about how they did not feel comfortable because the person wasn't going in there with masks or with gloves on. Again, I understand we were non-medical, but at least put your best foot forward. Now, it did eventually get to the point after a lot of literal arguments amongst upper management and me that we were starting to see a change. I believe they ended up putting themselves on a wait list for everything and then ordering gloves and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But maybe you should have been more proactive about that in the beginning. If you care, if you truly care about the people that you were servicing, I would think that you put your best foot forward to make sure that they were safe. Let's go back to the caregivers. So this one girl, she missed her shift, and I knew that she was very consecutive with her shifts. She was always on time. The person that she worked for loved her dearly. So with her missing a shift, being a no call, no show, I was a little concerned. And the person that she worked with was concerned too because she never skipped out on her. So I leave a voicemail for her because she doesn't answer the phone. And I just say, hey, I know you're usually on time. I just want to make sure that everything is okay. So she calls me about 3 hours later to inform me that her father passed away. Her dad, who had been sick for a while, but at the same time, this was a shock that he had suddenly passed. This girl woke up to her father dead in the bed. He was unresponsive, all right? Immediately, I don't take any disciplinary action. I'm someone that lost a parent, so I'm not even going to try to invoke that on somebody who's already lost a parent, and the next thing you know, you get a hammer down from your employer. That's not who I am. I will never be that person, ever. So after me holding back tears because it's just so heartbreaking to even wake up to that, I call my boss and I tell her, hey, such and such has lost her dad. This is such a terrible thing. Can we send flowers? Now, the company was losing money. I completely understand that, because you have people that don't want services because of the coronavirus. So what happens if they don't want services? You cannot bill, so you can't get paid, right? I understand we were losing money on a weekly basis. I get that. But damn it, these employees also matter, because they're going into people's homes and they're also putting themselves at risk. And this girl just lost her father. All right? You made enough money to buy a $25 bouquet of fucking roses for this girl. So she tells me, girl, she tells me, oh, we usually do that for people that have been with us for years. I'm so fucking heated, dude. She tells me, bitch, she tells me we usually do that for people that have been with us for years. Girl, don't you want to just jump through that camera and just be like, Margaret, get it together, girl. I'm about to blow up. I'm about to blow up. I cannot tell you the composure I had to ask Jesus Christ himself, Savior, hold me together. Hold me together in the name of Jesus. Hold me together. So I say, wait a minute. We can't give this girl a bouquet of flowers. And she says, well, if you want to give her flowers, you can. I'll never forget, this was on a Thursday. I got paid Friday. I said, you know what, tomorrow I just might do that. And I hung up. Keep in mind, this is an organization that is supposed to be working towards loving on people and helping them and everything like that. And you don't even give a shit that your caregiver just woke up to her father dead in the bed. The person that works under you making $8.50 an hour, doing all kinds of toileting, lifting, and she doesn't deserve a little bit of, we're sorry, we appreciate you for being a great employee for our company. This has to be such a traumatic experience. This girl was 21 and lost her dad like that. This girl is young, okay? This girl's younger than me and she woke up to her father like that. Are you kidding? Some people, I don't understand why they're in the healthcare business. I just don't. The forefront of being a healthcare manager is that you give a fuck about your employees and the people that you service. So that event occurred about, I would say, 6 days before my termination. So the last day, okay? I walk in and my boss, I'm the manager of my center, and my boss is sitting at a table. So I walk in, I'm like, I don't know why she's here. She was here the other day, but okay. Hi, how are you? I don't know why you're here. You were here literally just the other day, but whatever. She's like, hey, and she's on her computer. She doesn't even look up at me. I'm like, all right, fine. You're in one of your moods. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to my desk and I'm going to take care of my people. So I go to my desk. I'm sitting there at my computer and I'm like, I can't log in. And so I say, hey, manager, I can't log in. She's like, oh, you can't log in? She acted like she was looking to see what was going on. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'll just wait for her to talk to IT, whatever she has to do, so that way I can log in and I can see what shifts need to be covered if anything was missed last night. About maybe 5 minutes later, and me just sitting there idle at my computer, she comes up to me. Margaret, calm down. Calm down, Margaret. Girl. Calm down. Calm down. Fuck. The fuck. She comes up to me and she's like, we need to talk. She puts her phone on the printer and she's like, hey, we need to talk. I'm like, okay, good morning to you too. So owner is going through a lot with the company right now and he wants to remove this position immediately. I had just driven 20 miles to work, okay? This is a Monday morning. So I look at her and I say, well, when did you find this out? And she's like, oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I just drove 20 fucking miles to work to actually come get dressed, everything ready, said my prayers, and get ready for work. This could have been a phone call. Hey, Margaret, company's not looking good. Hasta la vista. Okay, cool. But I have to get dressed thinking I'm going to work, man. 20 miles out of my way, and you don't even have the respect to like just sit down and be like, I really appreciate how much you care for the caregivers and the elderly, but at this time the company is losing too much and we can no longer suffice this position. I would also like to point out that that is actually false. It's interesting because 2 weeks after I was fired, the job posting for the position had come back up. So it's very interesting how I get terminated because everything was going so terribly with the company and COVID-19 and all this kind of stuff, allegedly. And the next thing you know, a whole job listing for my position came back up literally 2 weeks after my termination, and I was not contacted to be rehired back. So it was never about COVID-19. It was because I stood up for my employees and I stood up for myself, and this company could not handle that. So always know your worth. Enjoy the rest of the video. That is what a manager tells someone when they're being terminated. That is what a manager says to someone when they've appreciated what they've done for the company and they are sorry that they have to let them go. I did not receive that treatment. I received a callous, sorry bitch, gotta go. I didn't go off because she wasn't worth it and I really would have hurt her feelings because she was fragile. But girlfriend, you don't do that. I guess the bottom line is simply this. If you are a boss, your employees matter, their feelings matter, and the work that they put forth matters. It is so imperative as a boss to make sure that your employees are cared for and they are respected from day one till if you have to terminate them or let them go. There's still people at the end of the day. People make mistakes, adjustments can be made, but at the forefront, they deserve the same respect that you would want. To be a good boss, you have to remember to keep the golden rule primary. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And they did me wrong. So if you are in a job situation where you feel like your voice is not heard, I suggest you make yourself heard. If you are a boss and you undermine your employees, I advise you to stop. Their work matters. What they put forth matters. As a boss, you are a leader and you are someone that they need to look up to. And you want to be able to look up to somebody that you know has your back too. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me lose my mind. I really appreciate it. You guys are incredible. You have value and you matter. Have a good day.